making My Little Pony Cutie Mark pants, where you can either put it on your front, or of course you can put it on your back pocket like those traditional pants that are sold in the popular stores. I'm just gonna get over the fact that I've shown my butt on the internet. Anyway, for this week, here's what we need. A utensil to mark your fabric with, roving wool in the colors of your design, a needle felting mat, a sponge also works, a needle felting tool with needles, and a denim garment that needs to be 20% cooler. Now, if you're new to needle felting, you're definitely going to want to practice before you bust out your garment. So as you can see here, I've just grabbed a piece of felt, but really any heavy-duty fabric will work. Felt works best though. Then take out your roving wool in the colors you like. As you can see, I've got a pink and blue for Fluttershy's beautiful butterfly cutie marks. And I'm going to arrange everything so I'm ready, then pull a chunk of wool off of my giant hank and shape it into something that fits inside the lines I've drawn. Then once it's shaped how I like, I take my needle tool and I stab it repeatedly. Yep, it's a great way to work out any extra anger or energy you have is to needle felt, because you're pretty much just spending your time stabbing. There's a lot of stabbing. So on that note, please be very careful. Those needles in that needle tool are really sharp and they have barbs, which is part of what makes this process work, because it's tangling up the wool on both the top and the bottom of the piece, making sure that your applique doesn't go anywhere. However, it also means that you really do not want to stab yourself, so watch your fingers, please. Basically, at that point, just keep going. Keep going, pulling off hunks, shaping them into shapes that fit inside your lines, and then running the needle tool all over them until they are fully secured and flat. Switching colors could literally not be easier. Just grab a different color of wool when you grab your next hunk. Now, for detail work, like per se the antenna on Fluttershy's butterflies, you're going to want to take a hunk of wool and then start twisting it between your fingers going in different directions, kind of like you're spinning if you have any experience with that. Basically, you're trying to make a really thin strand that's going to hold together pretty well for all of your detail bits. Then take your needle felting tool and screw the top off, pulling out the disc and one needle with it so that you can do all of your detail work. Then take your singular needle and start stabbing at one end of your details and basically run it over the details while holding the now yarn piece of wool over them so it all lines up, and that way you can get some really nice details out of that. As you can see, my antenna turned out very nice. And then just repeat all the steps for any detail work you might have. Make a nice really thin chunk, either using your fingers or rolling it in between your hands, and then start at one end, stab with needle repeatedly, and then run over the entirety of the antenna, or whatever your detail work is, until it's all covered. Now grab your garment. Mine's a black pair of pants that got bleach spilled on them. So traditionally, decorations go on the back pocket. For this technique, we're going to actually have to rip the back pocket off in order for this to work. So grab a seam ripper or some scissors and break all the threads so that the pocket comes completely off. Once the pocket is fully removed, it's time to prepare it for needle felting by drawing out the design you would like. I chose Twilight Sparkle's cutie mark. Little did I know that it was actually the most complicated, although I probably could have figured that out, but I didn't, so meh. Too many 6-pointed stars. Then put it over your needle felting mat and go to town. Basically using the same techniques, make the shape, then go over it with your needle felting tool until it stays in place. Continue until you have an opaque layer of felt sitting on top of your piece, creating a design. For smaller areas, like for instance Twilight Sparkle's smaller 6-pointed stars, I like to use the same technique that we use on Fluttershy's antennae, basically rolling a small piece of yarn and then running it all along the outside. Once the perimeter has been completely covered, I then go back through and try and get the interior completely covered. This way it creates a cleaner shape when finished. Once you're completely done, the backside will be very fluffy, but don't worry about it. As we wash it, it will actually get flatter and flatter. Once you like how your pocket looks, go ahead and lay it down where you took it from. Using some pins, hold it in place, and then run a stitch line over where the previous stitch lines were using either a sewing needle and thread or, of course, my favorite, a sewing machine. Alright, a cutie mark pocket. These pants are officially better. Now, say you're not a fan of sewing or you're not a big fan of having a decoration on your butt. that's totally fine. You can actually put a cutie mark anywhere else on a pair of pants or really any heavy-duty garment made of denim. All you have to do is make sure you know where your pockets are and that they're going to be out of the way so that you don't suddenly make them completely unusable. Then just draw your design wherever you want them to be, again, making sure you know where the pocket is and that it's completely out of the way. Go to town and enjoy your new decoration. As you can see, I've chosen Princess Luna, so I now have a pair of pants with Twilight Sparkle's cutie mark and Luna's cutie mark. Because they're my favorite, not going to lie. The final step is to throw these pants into a washer on a hot cycle, then followed by the dryer, which will make all of the felting a lot tighter and more opaque. Then, you're all done. Go and rock your cutie mark pants.